All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Crown Council Live. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Stuart Anderson. Hey, Steve.
What's up, Stu? Good day.
Well, good day. We're a little late getting online. We had to take all the systems online, but hey, you were patiently waiting, preparing for the message. It's worth the wait, right?
When you're late, you're lost.
I knew it was coming.
We're like the FAA yesterday.
Oh, man, what a crash.
All the systems crashed.
Reboot.
Yeah.
That was very good. Hey, we are in the middle of the annual gathering of Crown Council members. We're so grateful to host you in 2 weeks from today. We'll be here in Salt Lake City. Can't wait to gather everybody for the 28th annual event. Things are looking really good, Steve. We have, 10, 20 signups a day. There's a group of people, maybe waiting to join us. So it's really fun. The numbers are big and we're going to have a huge gathering. So
very cool.
We're looking forward to seeing everybody live in 2 weeks. How about you, Steve? What are you working on? Any big plans here in the next month or so for live events or?
Oh, yeah. So a lot going on. In fact, we will be live tomorrow in person in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Doing a big course out there in Vegas, Michigan on Monday, Boston on next Friday. So a lot going on all over the country. The TOPS practice advisors are all deployed all over the country today. And lots of excitement about the annual event. So I am very much looking forward to it coming up.
Yeah, we are too. It's fun to always do it here in the hometown. We were in your hometown last year. Now we're coming to Salt Lake.
Dallas last year, Salt Lake City this year.
Yeah. Hey, does that mean you're flying out today to Vegas?
It does.
Okay, let's go. Let's get going.
Okay.
Hey, we are excited today. This is our second opportunity to turn our live stream into a real educational webinar. Steve is going to be hosting that. It's our proven secrets to increase your case acceptance success. Steve, do you want to get a little introduction to it, or how do we want to?
Yeah. So
you go. Your turn.
Right, sounds good. We're good to go. I'm going to share my screen.
Hey, let's do it.
And Stu, I may need your help here periodically from time to time as we work through what we're going to do. So this is what we call I can afford it versus I can't afford it. That's usually what you hear from patients when it comes to financial arrangements if they have issues. And this is how you can hear I can afford it, how you can hear a yes to financial arrangements more often. We're going to have, this is going to be packed with ideas, techniques, and systems so you can set up your financial arrangement system better to help more patients accept more treatment. So,
hey, Steve. Steve, before we start, just so everybody knows, there will be a CE credit at the end.
Yes.
Stay with us because it's at the end.
Yeah. And the other thing I would suggest is get your cell phone out because there will be several resources that we will talk about in the next few minutes that you will want to tap into. And they'll all be presented in the form of a QR code. So there'll be different QR codes that you can scan and request different resources. So we're very grateful to some of our Crown Council resource partners today for their participation and their help in putting this together. And we'll be talking about Sunbit today, patient financing. We'll be talking about Clear membership plans. We'll be talking about dental warranty. We got a lot of great resources for everybody today. So get ready.
Nice.
There will also be a resource at the end that will summarize what we've talked about today, plus some. So lots to come here.
Great.
All right. So if you are a financial coordinator or anyone that works on the team, when was the last time you heard things like, I need to think about it when it comes to treatment and financial arrangements, or that's more than I was expecting, or won't my insurance cover all of this because my insurance covers 100%, or that's way too much money, or I can't do that right now. All of those are things that we hear on commonly in the dental office when it comes to financial arrangements. And we're going to walk through a system and resources today so that you'll hear this less. And when you do hear it, you'll know how to respond to it. So, Stuart, as you know, anybody that spent any time with me at all knows that I have a format, I have a sequence that I always share information, which is it's all very principle based. It's the principle, then it's the application, and then it's the what do we need to do. And today will be no different. I'm going to share some core principles that are at the foundation of great financial arrangements and case acceptance. And the first of which is this. Those of you that have been to our TOPS Total Immersion course, this is one of the key points that we really drive home, is that we make decisions emotionally and we justify those decisions with logic. We are emotional people, and that's how we process information. Science has shown us that we process emotionally first, and then it gets into the logic space. And so we're going to talk about how to tap into that, because if you approach financial arrangements strictly from a logic standpoint, it will fall short. When you're dealing with money, money has a high degree of connection with emotion. And we're going to show you how to switch that today so that you follow a correct process where you can tap into your patient's emotions and then walk them through a process that will help them pay for treatment that they want.
Those look like the shopping ladies.
You think? Yes. We always say it's amazing if everybody can go back and identify things that they purchased that they couldn't afford.
I need it.
Because you wanted it, right? So wants come first, then needs. Wants always trump needs. Beyond food, clothing, and shelter, wants are the most powerful thing. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. So if you're a financial coordinator in your office, when was the last time you had a patient that was DOA, which stands for dead on arrival? In other words, they were brought up front for financial arrangements, and you knew from the moment that they came up that there was no way this was going to end in a positive situation with a yes. They're just dead on arrival because the way it was set up. So here's the first principle here is that financial arrangements are a team effort. It's not just the financial coordinator. It's not just one person. It is an entire team effort. Clinical team, front office team, everybody has a part to play. For example, here are some symptoms of what leads to a patient that is dead on arrival for financial arrangements. Number one is too many options. So a patient that's had a discussion with the clinical team and the presentation has been, well, we can solve the problem this way or that way, or, there's a bunch of different options here. And the patient is so confused, they don't know what to do. So first rule is one treatment plan based on what the patient said they wanted. And then based on what your diagnosis is and what they need, we're going to present clinically the ideal treatment plan that will help the patient get what they want. We're not going to confuse them with a bunch of different options clinically unless, they ask for it. There's always informed consent. And so, Stuart, if you were the patient, this is how I would present that. I would say, Stuart, let me share with you what I recommend in this situation based on what you said you wanted, which was to keep your teeth, to eliminate unpleasant surprises moving forward, and have the peace of mind of knowing that you're doing the right thing for yourself and your health. So this is what I would recommend, understanding that there are other options that will get you less than what you said you wanted, but this is what I would recommend. And then we talk about the recommended treatment plan. And again, that's based on what the patient said they wanted. So there has to be some work on the front end to make sure that we're presenting a treatment plan that's based on the patient's objectives. I could do a whole 3 hours just on this piece alone, which I won't. But here's the key principle: one treatment plan. If you're having to deal with multiple treatment plans, it just makes financial arrangements that much more difficult. Trap number 2 that results in the patient dead on arrival is prejudging the patient and pre-phasing the treatment. So Stuart, if I don't think you can afford it, if that's been my judgment up front, then the language is going to unravel and it'll be like this. We'll say, I know, Stuart, this is a lot of work and there's a lot that needs to be done and we can do this over time, so it's not such a big financial burden. We can do this out over the next 2 years or next, whatever. And I pre-phase the treatment without even giving the patient the opportunity to make the decision themselves. So do not pre-phase treatment just because you've prejudged the patient thinking that they can't afford it.
The farmer with the big wad of cash in his boot.
Exactly. Okay. So here's a quick quiz. Number one most popular automobile with millionaires in America.
Man, I know the answer though, Steve. So it's tough.
So the answer is the Ford F-150, right? It's not the BMW. It's not the Lexus. It's the Ford F-150. Ford F-150 is the biggest selling car in America. Yeah, but a lot of times those patients that drive the big fancy cars, they are automobile and house broke. They're spending all their money on big houses and expensive cars. So you can't prejudge patients. You just never know. So don't pre-phase the treatment because you've prejudged the patient. Trap number 3 is a financial coordinator that is put in the position of having to present treatment as well as financial arrangements. So this is a trap because the treatment should be presented by the clinical team and get agreement on that. What's the best path forward for treatment? And then we can bring the financial coordinator in to figure out how the patient can fit it into their budget. But if you're putting the treatment coordinator or the financial coordinator in the position of having to present treatment and money, then we have found that to be less effective.
Yeah.
Right. So keep the clinical team involved in the treatment plan. Then this trap, no treatment plan at all, which is everybody gets in a rush in the office and the financial coordinator then comes in or the patient's taken up front and the financial coordinator is just grasping for what's the plan and asking, and there's nothing to go by because a lot of times it's just people get busy. So yeah, you got to have a plan if we're going to do financial arrangements. And then finally, here's the other dead on arrival trap is the patient that was presented treatment, way more treatment than they expected when they were just coming in to get their teeth cleaned. And because of the diagnosis, without understanding and getting input from the patient on what they really wanted, then they get overwhelmed with all this treatment that they were not expecting that's not plugged into their goals. So those are just a few traps on the front end that need to be aligned. Make sure you don't have any of those traps present if you want successful financial arrangements. So the ideal is that by the time we get to the financial arrangements discussion, the patient has a very clear treatment plan that's been discussed and agreed on that will help them accomplish their goals. And the financial coordinator has that treatment plan, so then we can focus on the money part of the equation. So let's talk about luck when it comes to financial arrangements. This is, Stu, this is one of my favorite definitions of luck, which is when preparation meets opportunity. There are opportunities every day to do financial arrangements, and having the right preparation then leads to great outcomes. So here are the 2 areas we're going to discuss: is having the right tools to be prepared for great financial arrangements discussion, and having the right training. So tools and training, and we're going to deal with both here in the next few minutes.
Nice.
So let's talk about the toolbox and what you need, the specific items in your financial arrangements toolbox that need to be available to have a successful outcome. Number 1 is what we call internal financial guidelines. So Stu, what this looks like, this is an internal document that only the team members see. Patients never see this, but it is a short outline of what the financial guidelines are for what we offer to the patient. So for example, if we offer a prepayment courtesy, so if the patient pays 100% up front, cash or with a check, then do we offer a prepayment courtesy? What are the types of third-party financing we offer? We should have that clearly delineated. What are the programs that we offer? How do we organize payment versus scheduling? And how do we plan those payments out? What's our relationship with insurance? How do we handle patients that are out of network versus in network? So that financial guidelines document internal should be the roadmap for the team internally for how we handle financial arrangements and what things are in place to do that effectively. So that's tool number one. Tool number two then is what we call the external financial guidelines. So this is what the patient sees. I prefer to call this what the patient sees instead of it being a financial policy or a financial agreement, that this is titled financial relationship. And it outlines what the financial relationship is between the patient, the practice, and any insurance benefits that they might have. So they're clear on what that relationship is with all the parties involved. And it is something that they would sign off on so that they understand that they have read it and that they understand how all those things work together. So what's the financial relationship between the patient, the practice, any benefits that they have? So everybody's clear on how all of that is intended to work. Number three, again, you have to have a treatment plan. If you're going to do financial arrangements, we have to have a very clear treatment plan of what it is that we've talked about to move forward. Number four would be for the financial coordinator to always have available with them openings for the doctor and hygiene. And here's our formula, Stu. We call this the T3 formula, which is I should always be, if I'm the financial coordinator, I should always know what's available today for same-day treatment, tomorrow for immediate scheduling, and what it looks like for the next 2 weeks. So today, tomorrow, and 2 weeks out. So if I always have that, then I can be very effective at scheduling and offering different options for appointments. Number five is third-party payment options. We'll talk about that today. What third-party payment options do we have available that makes it easy for patients to afford treatment and fit it into their budget? And number six, what? A nice pen. So we joke about this. If they're making an important financial decision and commitment, and when they go to sign the treatment plan or the financial arrangements, and you hand them a plastic pen from the auto shop down the street, it does not send a good message. So the best analogy for this, Stu, do you remember when you bought your first house?
Yes.
And you sat down at the title company to sign the closing papers?
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know if you're like me, but the first time I did this and sat down, they brought out, it seemed like a tray of beautiful black pens that I'm sure they were, brand new, but I mean, it was like a presentation and they had plenty of them and they set them down, because these were important documents, and nobody was looking at, anybody got a pen? Anybody got it? No, I mean, they had it all there, and it was presented in a very classy way because it was an important decision. So same rule applies here. Make it a nice pen so that it mirrors the decision that they're going to make. And then finally, the right place. Doing this in the right place. So it needs to be private and it needs to be quiet. So here's our preference as far as a place, Stuart, is the ideal place in our mind, if you can do it, to present financial arrangements is in the treatment room. The moment, if you've had a patient that's been sitting in the chair for an hour or more, the rule is that physiology is directly tied to psychology. Okay, so physiology, how you how you're positioned, your posture, your breathing, all those things. Your physiology is connected to how you think. So the moment I stand a patient up and put them on their feet and walk them out of the treatment room,
I'm ready to go.
in their mind, where did they go?
They're done, ready to go.
Yeah, they are out past the front desk, out the door, in their car, and run the next 5 errands they got to do that day. So if it's at all possible, the recommendation is, present them chairside. Now, there are some limitations to that. There are actually, Stu, some states where they have laws that prevent that in medical environments, if you're going to present payment options or payments, that it has to be outside the treatment room.
Oh boy.
California is one of those. They may be the only one, but that's an exception. So in general, best to do it chairside if you can. Okay. Next ingredient is what we call a relationship link from the clinical team to the financial coordinator, a relationship link, so that all the information is linked up. So Stu, if you were the patient and I were a member of the clinical team, then I would introduce you back to the financial coordinator. Let's say the financial coordinator comes in, and this is what the relationship link would sound like. I would say, Brenda, we've had a great visit today with Stuart, and we have set some very specific goals for the appearance of his mouth and his health. And this is really important to him because Stuart's doing presentations all the time for work. He wants to be able to present himself at the very best, smile with confidence, and never have to worry about being self-conscious. And so we've mapped out a plan to help him accomplish that goal. And here's what the plan is. We'd review the plan. And so I've told Stuart that you'll work with him to then figure out the financial arrangements. So this works with his budget. And then I would turn to you and I'd say, Stuart, is there anything that we missed regarding the plan that we've put together that we need to talk about before you talk to Brenda about the financial arrangements and the scheduling? Anything at all?
No, sounds good.
So now I've closed that part of it. Stuart said yes. So now the financial coordinator is freed up to focus on financial arrangements and doesn't have to go back through and try and rehash. If we don't do that, then the potential, Stuart, is you start firing clinical questions at the financial coordinator and the whole thing is unraveled.
Got it.
So that relationship link cannot be overemphasized. It is a critical piece of financial arrangements success.
Nice.
So once we've done the relationship link, then the financial coordinator would say to you, Stu, she would say, so Stuart, is it okay with you if I review your treatment plan that you and Dr. Peterson discussed? Okay, so this is what we call permission to proceed, permission statement. So now we're going to initiate this financial arrangements discussion. Now, we're going to walk through some things to do and some things not to do as you proceed through this discussion. So pay close attention here because there's some traps that you want to avoid and some things you want to make sure to do. It will not surprise you to know, if you have spent any time with us at all at TOPS and Crown Council, we have a formula for this that is represented by the word brief for doing financial arrangements. So it stands for this: begin with the benefit, review the treatment plan, introduce the fee, explore any concerns, and then finalize the treatment. So we're going to look at all 5 of these quickly on how you walk through these. So first off, begin with the benefits. So as we've gone through this sequence, Stuart, what I would say to you as the financial coordinator is I would again repeat the benefit that you're looking for. So Stuart, sounds like what's been discussed is your goal for your appearance and the health of your mouth so that your teeth look their very best for the presentations that you are going to be doing, that you minimize any kind of unpleasant surprises, and that you have the confidence of knowing that you've done the best for yourself and that you can smile with confidence in front of other people.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it.
Okay. So I'm going to repeat that again. Again, people make decisions emotionally. They justify with logic. So I'm going to begin with the want. It's what we call the M&M, what matters most. So I'm going to begin with what matters most to Stuart. I'll reiterate this again. I say this a lot. This is not about procedures.
Mhm.
Patients do not want procedures. They don't want root canals. They don't want fillings. They don't want crowns. They don't want implants. They don't want anything that we do in dentistry. Nothing. What they want is what it'll do for them. So our job continuously is to stay focused on the want, not the what, but the want. What does Stuart want? He wants confidence. He wants peace of mind. He wants to be able to stand up in front of a group and not have to be self-conscious about his smile. That's what he wants. And that's what we're going to focus on. Stay focused on the want. Lead with the benefit. It can't be repeated too much. Next, we're going to review the plan. So in brief, if it's already been discussed with the clinical team, then we'll review the plan by saying, so Stuart, the doctor recommended gum therapy and a crown on your upper right. So in order for you to have the confidence that you said you wanted, et cetera, et cetera. So a brief overview of the treatment plan. Now, here's the recommendation. We are not going to use dental terms in this review of the treatment. We'll talk about this in just a minute, but one of the worst things that you can show a patient is the treatment plan that comes out of your practice management software program, because it has abbreviations for procedures that nobody understands what they are. Everything is line itemed, and it is incredibly confusing. So we recommend using what we call the Easy Pay form. It has a very short summary of what the treatment is, and then walks through what the investment is, what their insurance savings is, and then what the patient portion is. So it's summarized and it makes it really easy. So again, just a quick summary of the treatment in terms that anyone could understand. So then we're going to introduce the fee. So I would say, Stuart, the total investment for the treatment that you talked about with Dr. Anderson is $4,000. We estimate your insurance savings to be $1,500, which leaves your portion $2,500.
Very good. Sounds great.
And that's exactly what I would do, is quiet, right? So, and I would say just exactly that. Your total's $4,000. We estimate that your insurance savings,
good word,
will be $1,500, which leaves your portion $2,500. Now, here's some traps. Here's some don'ts. Please eliminate the terms "you're out of pocket." So Stuart, your out of pocket for all of this is going to be $15,000.
Just steal it from my pockets.
I don't know where the out of pocket thing came from, but it is such a lousy term. It creates a word, it creates an image in people's minds of, having nothing left in their pockets. You just eliminate it, right? So instead of saying out of pocket, we're going to say your portion, right? So your portion. We're going to eliminate the phrase "your insurance only covers." So Stuart, the investment for this is $4,000, and your insurance is only going to cover $1,500. So your out of pocket's $2,500. It's like, nobody's going to go for that. So instead of saying your insurance only covers, then we're going to say your insurance savings is, your insurance provides for an estimated savings of, it's always estimated, an estimated savings of $1,500, which leaves your portion $2,500. So, and again, I've mentioned this before, you're going to avoid technical terms. We're going to avoid tooth numbers. Very few people know which tooth is which number. we're going to avoid all that. So those are just a couple of suggestions of things to watch and eliminate from your financial arrangements vocabulary. All right, next in our brief formula is we're going to explore concerns. So this is the opportunity where, Stuart, if you have any concerns about anything at all, this is the time when we can concern that. So let's you and I, just as an example, let's say that you have some concerns about what your insurance will cover.
Okay.
So say that to me, and let's just as an example.
Well, Steve, I'm really nervous about what my insurance will cover for this procedure.
Got it. So it sounds like, Stuart, you want to make sure to maximize your benefits so you can minimize your portion. Is
Yes.
that
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so based on what we know about your insurance, and we did some research, based on what we know, your insurance estimates that it will pay $1,500. $1,500, that's your savings, so that your portion would be $2,500. Would it be helpful? And the beautiful thing about that, Stuart, is you don't have to pay all of that today.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So would you like to look at some options to take care of your portion?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So there's a whole methodology to responding to patient concerns. And that methodology at a high level all has to do with the questions that you ask. Ask, don't tell. So we're going to ask questions to identify what Stuart's real concern is. And then we're going to present possible solutions in the form of questions. Stuart, what if we did this? Would you be interested in that? Would you be interested in taking a look at different options for that? I'm always, always, always going to be asking, not telling. All right, once we've explored concerns, we're going to finalize the financial arrangements. So that will be, should we go ahead and get that scheduled, or would you like to take a look at what your financial options are? In other words, we're going to finalize this conversation so we can move ahead with getting the financial arrangements decided on in the different ways that we can do that and get it scheduled. So that's a brief overview of brief, that quick formula for doing financial arrangements. One other tip here when you do financial arrangements is separating the payment from the date of service. So this kind of feeds into our stop cancellations methodology, which is if you want to keep your schedule predictable, then I'm going to separate payment from the date of service. Because if you wake up on the date of the appointment and you realize that you're going to have to pay $2,500, you're going to get sick.
Yep.
And you're going to call and say, oh, I'm not feeling good.
COVID, I got it.
It's not because you're physically ill, it's because you're emotionally sick. It's like, I don't want to pay all that money. But if all the financial arrangements have been settled up front, including the date of payment, when different payments will be made or when they'll be charged on your credit card or with your third-party financing, then payment is no longer part of the actual appointment schedule, right? So just word of suggestion there. All right, so again, begin with the benefit, review the treatment, introduce the fee, explore concerns, and then finalize the plan with a signed treatment plan and signed financial arrangements.
Nice.
So that leads us to this question, paying for it. So quick quiz, Stuart, how many ways do you think there are to pay for treatment?
Oh, well, I've been on the webinar, so there's a lot. Man, innumerable. Let's start with.
So when I typically ask this question to a group of financial coordinators and I'll say, how many ways are there to pay for treatment? They usually come up with 4 or 5.
Okay.
Cash, credit card, maybe debit card, maybe third-party financing. And that's kind of where things rest. So here's this, we're going to go through this list really quick. But the idea of this is that the patient wants it, which that's part of the whole case acceptance system. If they want it, then our job is to help them find a way to pay for it. Now, here's the word of caution, Stu. If they don't want it, if you don't want the treatment, there is no amount of wizardry that is going to get them to pay for something. We don't pay for things we don't want. All right. So that's the prerequisite. You gotta wanna this. And then we can work hand in hand to find a way so you can pay for it. Make sense?
Yes.
So this is not getting people to pay for it. This is helping people find a way to pay for treatment. So here they are. We're going to go through these really, really fast. They can pay with cash. And I just mentioned this because there are a lot of patients who will come in with the total amount in cash today. So be prepared to take cash. Have some petty cash so you can make change. But yeah, take cash. A lot of people would prefer if they've saved up the money. There are certain populations we work in with clients across the country where a lot of their patients pay in cash. So take cash. Obviously, a check. Make sure that you have credit, you have check processing capability, and that it makes it easy for patients to do it. I love desktop clearing, which gives you the machine right there on your desktop to clear checks and cash them immediately while the patient is standing right there. That's a functionality that is very, very common and easy to have right there in your practice. Credit cards. Stu, here's one of the objections I hear a lot is they say, well, American Express, they charge such a big discount rate and the whole deal. Yeah. And make it easy for your patients to pay, right? So reduce the friction. There should be very little friction in financial arrangements. Let the friction be in the clinical area. You need friction to work on teeth. That's what a drill is for. So let the friction be in their mouth, not in financial arrangements. Make it easy, have a lot of options for them to pay. Debit card, right? Some people prefer a debit card to a credit card, and it's less expensive for us. Obviously, helping them maximize their insurance savings, right? So whether you're in network or out of network, helping them maximize those savings is a way to pay for treatment. We've got a whole course on just insurance entitled, Should You Be Insurance Free? And how you manage your relationship with insurance. Now, there's all kinds of alternative payment methods today that make it easy for patients to pay. Apple Pay, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, all kinds of different cash apps. So get up to speed on how payments are being made today, and you design this for your practice, but decide on which ways it makes it easiest for your patients to pay. Make it easy. I love the text to pay option now that's available through all kinds of different resources. Many of them through our Crown Council resource partners have a way to text to pay. So while they're standing right there, you can send them a text, or you can have this function on your website, but they can stand right there and they can make payment right there on their phone with a text function. So you can look into that with different resources that now have that available. Do they have a flex spending account as part of their health insurance benefits? A lot of times patients, it's lost on them that they can use flex spending for dental services. So that's, you can say, if they're trying to figure out how to pay for it, it's a question. Do you have a flex spending account, or do you have a health savings account, right? Those are two different vehicles. They're related, but they are different. 401k. Beautiful thing about 401k plans now is that you can be the bank. So in many 401k plans, the way they're set up, you can borrow from yourself. You can borrow from your 401k plan and pay yourself interest and pay it back over time. So they can be their own bank. So do you have a 401k that you could borrow from in order to afford this? Maybe they have a tax refund coming up. My recommendations to is you have a whole list of these so that when you're talking to patients, you can say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Have they saved any precious metals? Do they have gold frozen in their freezer for a special expense, or they saved anything up in that area? Now, here's another resource, a membership plan. Here's what we know is that 69%, this is recent research, 69% of patients nationwide who did not get treatment or did not go to the dental office, their reasoning was, what they said was they didn't do it, because they don't have insurance.
Hmm.
So their perception was, I can't do it because, I don't have insurance. So this is a solution for patients who may not have access to dental insurance. This is a solution. It's a membership plan. So for example, Clear is one of the most popular membership plans in dentistry. It allows you to design, implement, and automate and grow a successful membership plan in your practice. It's in over 7,000 dentists across the country use this plan, and it's very easy to implement. So if you do not have a membership plan as part of your financial arrangements toolbox, could I recommend that you grab your cell phone, that you scan this QR code, and go ahead. This old Clear will send you some information about their membership plan and how you can incorporate that into your practice for financial arrangements success.
Nice.
And we'll have the members of the Clear team available here in just a minute after we finish the education part of the webinar to answer any questions about that. But you can go ahead and scan that and then get the information about that if you do not have a membership plan as part of your strategy. Next is divide up the payments. So you can have a certain amount down today, a certain amount that you pay at different points, but you can divide up the payments. That's always an option. You can offer a prepay courtesy. I've mentioned that before. So if they pay everything now, that there is a courtesy discount for them to go ahead and take care of that balance up front. Now, Stuart, this is one I love. This is what we call $1 a day. And we've actually implemented this into the Smiles for Life whitening campaign for patients who participate in that charity program. For certain procedures like whitening or Invisalign, where they're going to have the service over time. We do it for whitening because whitening is a very low cost service to the practice and high return on that procedure. Is we call it $1 a day, meaning that they pay the balance off. So let's say you're going to get your teeth whitened and it's $199, that we would then charge you $30 a month until the balance is paid off.
Yeah.
It can be done with an online credit card terminal that is very easy to set up with today's technology. So $1 a day for certain, let me reemphasize, we just do this for whitening and for ortho treatment. Third-party financing should absolutely be part of your financial arrangements toolbox. There are a lot of options out there today, and we keep a regular update of all the different third-party financing plans that there are. Let me highlight one with some characteristics that are very, very attractive in terms of offering third-party financing. So we know that today, based on the latest economic research and consumer research, that 40% of Americans cannot cover a surprise $400 or more expense. That's a pretty big chunk of America, 40%. So if they're going to move ahead, they're going to have some resource that allows them to do that. The industry average dental treatment is $1,200. So you see the disconnect here. You got 40% of America who would not be able to take care of that expense today. So if there is a way that they can get their treatment done today and pay that out over time, then that would be an ideal situation. So here's some fun characteristics of this particular plan. Sunbit offers a 30-second or less approval process. It is wicked fast. There is no hard credit check to their credit, so it will never show up on their credit report. It will not damage their credit rating. And they have an 85% approval rate. So 30-second approval, 85% of people are approved. They'll go down to as low as a 500 FICO score. So it's designed to be low friction, make it really, really easy for patients to get approved for financing, and it's inclusive, right? It is one of the most inclusive programs out there. So if you do not have a third-party financing program in your practice, or if you don't have one that's this good, 30-second approval, no hard hit to their credit with that kind of an approval rating, then I would recommend that you go ahead and scan this QR code. Here's another resource. And the team at Sunbit will give you a free demo. They'll set up with your office a free demo so that you can see how it works. I've been through this demo myself. It's pretty cool when you see how fast it is. They don't even have to fill out an application. All they have to do is hand you their driver's license. That's scanned with an iPad, and within 30 seconds or less, you get an answer that comes back. It's pretty amazing. So you can scan that, request a demo, so you can see how it works, and add that to your financial arrangements toolbox. Moving on, you can have somebody co-sign with them for third-party financing. So if they don't happen to qualify, then suggest, is there someone else that can co-sign with you? Maybe there's a relative that opens an account for them that is willing to go to bat for them. Maybe somebody pays for it outright, just pays for them. Maybe they can cash in some savings or a savings bond, CDs, any kind of other savings that they've saved up for a rainy day. Maybe they can sell an old car. These are all ways that have actually been used to pay for treatment that patients really want. Sell something, borrow against their home equity, which is a lot easier today than ever. Dental warranties. So if it's a procedure that has been done in the past that was covered by the practice maintenance plan, then they can use that to pay for the treatment. So this is another resource. So if you don't have a protection plan in your practice that covers the treatment that you do and gives your patients the peace of mind that anything that's placed in their mouth is covered against accident, repair, or replacement, this is the roadmap to do that. So again, you can scan this one and you'll immediately receive a roadmap to providing your patients more peace of mind with this resource that'll take care of any treatment that has to be repaired or replaced within 6 years of that work being done. So great, another great resource to have. They can sell something online, on Facebook Marketplace, on eBay. They can do a layaway program. And Stu, this is where you would make payments to the office in advance. And then when you have enough that you've paid in, then we can move ahead with treatment. So there are so many options. If the patient wants it, then these are all things you can suggest to help them pay for treatment. So that's a great resource list. And again, we recommend keeping those in front of you so you can always be exploring options for your patients.
Nice.
So ultimately, when we bring this in for financial arrangement success, there is a patient commitment. They've agreed on the treatment. They have a signed financial agreement. And again, we love the Easy Pay form. They have a scheduled appointment, and the patient leaves with a happy smile and face, knowing that they've made the right decision and they have the confidence in the team that's going to deliver it. That's the hallmark of great financial arrangements.
Nice.
All right, so we're going to take a quick quiz. You ready, Stu?
Ready.
This is for everybody watching. Here's your 10-question financial arrangements quiz. To what degree do you have all these things in place? So number one, are your practice financial guidelines in writing? Yes or no? So this is the form that has all your internal guidelines of how you handle your patient's money and financial arrangements. Number two, do you have a written list of financial options? Like we've talked about, all the different ways they can pay so that you can be suggesting different options. Number three, does your whole team know how you do financial arrangements in your practice? The whole team, from the dentist to the hygienist, the assistant, everybody up front, is everybody on the same page and understand how we do financial arrangements. Do you do a solid relationship link before presenting financial arrangements? We talked about the importance of that. Do you present one treatment plan? Not two, not a lot of options, one ideal treatment plan based on what's been agreed on with the clinical team. Do you have a third-party financing option? Gotta have it. Do you have an optimal third-party financing option? Number 7, do you present the financial agreement when presenting financial arrangements? So this would be, Stuart, that financial relationship document that I discussed, that gets presented again. It would be presented when they become a patient. And then again, when you do financial arrangements, to review with them what the relationship is between all the parties that are involved. Do you have patients sign the financial arrangements? Very, very important that they sign off on it. It's an agreement. Are you using the brief formula when presenting financial arrangements? And finally, how do you measure results with regular accountability? So measure results. What is your success in financial arrangements? How many patients said yes? How many didn't, and why? So those are just 10 hallmarks of great financial arrangement success. So that's a quick overview of what you can do to increase your chances of success in financial arrangements. Here's the last resource. We've had a lot of resources today, and here's the last one. So this is a summary of what we've talked about today, plus some. It's entitled, Yes, I Can Afford It. It's a digital ebook that walks through the specifics of how to set up your financial arrangement system for success. You can just scan the QR code and then that will download so you can share that with your team. So with that, Stu, why don't we go ahead and bring in our resource partners, since that's the end of the formal CE part of the education. And I know, why don't you introduce our resource partners, and we can just do some quick Q&A on the resources that they have for financial arrangement success.
Very good. If you joined us last week, these guys will look familiar to us. We had them on last week on our live stream. Both Brad and Robert are here to answer any questions for you. We are grateful, obviously, for their support as Crown Council resource partners, but more importantly, just as members of the community of Crown Council, we feel that our resource partners do so much more than just sell a product to the group of the Crown Council. This is an opportunity for them to really do good, to help build practices and help our community. And these two are very committed to both of those things. So thank you, Robert and Brad, for both joining us 2 weeks in a row. Dang, you guys are overworked here. It's tough. Well, I assume you were watching the presentation outside. So what can we add, Robert?
Yeah, I think, and I lost the last 10 minutes of it, so I missed a couple of minutes just because I was waiting in the Zoom room. So if I missed anything that you covered, sorry, but I think you did a really nice job covering. I really liked the segment about not using limiting language or language that might demotivate the patient, right, or make them feel negative. I think it's all about optimistic presentation of things, and patient financing is so tied to that. So I think I like that you said that, and you know, I like to add that, you know, when we look at the way patient financing should be offered, it's, you know, basically making sure that the patients know they have these options and access to credit. It's just another thing that they have the ability to use. You know, you mentioned how many ways patients have to pay. This is just another one. The difference with Sunbit, I think, is that it makes it easy as well, which is what's been missing in patient financing for so long, I think, is that it's an easy way to pay, easy for staff, easy for patients, and accessible for almost everyone. But I don't think you missed much. I'm happy to answer questions if they're in the chat, but I think you guys did a really nice job covering what patient finance can be.
Two things, Robert, if I can just add from what I know about Sunbit, the success toolbox at Sunbit. One is offer it to everybody. Why not offer financing to everybody? And one of the phrases that I know that you all love at Sunbit is to say, and the best thing is you don't have to pay for all of that today. And let me show you how. So it's a great tool to have in the toolbox to make it easy, reduce the friction, and make it easy for patients to say yes.
Yeah, and if you were with us last week, that product that Steve talked about, Robert, you probably missed there at the end, but the scanning of the driver's license and how fast it is and how easy it is, there is no friction. I mean, it's so good. So
I don't know if we have the same audience. I'm happy to do it again. I've got my iPad if it's helpful. I don't have to, but
you're just showing off, Robert.
I'm just showing
Yeah,
off.
we may come back.
I try and show it to people on the street too. Yeah.
So Brad, real quick, Brad James is from Clear, the dental membership plan. Brad, one thing I didn't mention that I'll just add is in all the years that we've done this, and it's been a long time, Crown Council, we're going on 30 years here coming up. Total Patient Service, we've been working with practices for 33 years. We're taking more practices off of insurance today than we ever have, going out of network. And based on those numbers we shared, 69% of people who don't go to the dentist, they don't go because they don't have insurance. They don't perceive they can go. So this becomes a great tool to have in your toolbox so that you can change that perception. And I know you've seen that nationwide, how effective it can be in helping patients perceive that they can afford treatment and easy to implement. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's been a weird and challenging past now 3 years, starting from March 2020. And I think what these types of tools like Sunbit, like Clear, allows your patients to understand is that you're empathizing with their potential financial situations, whether they were furloughed back in 2020 or now maybe they were laid off from their jobs and lost their benefits. So Clear can take care of the preventive care portion where you're allowing a more affordable yet profitable avenue through membership plans. And then on top of that, on the financing side, on the back end, when it comes to case acceptance, especially plans, options that are very expensive, this is where you can show your patients that you're a bit more empathetic. And yes, to your point, Steve, this is where we're creating something that allows it easy to manage and grow. And we actually just released some technology in late December that allows us to directly integrate with Dentrix, Eaglesoft, and Open Dental. So we're even taking that automation and ease of administration even further as we head into 2023.
Nice. Very cool. Thank you both for helping out today with the presentation and for the frictionless resources that make it easier to present financial arrangements and easier for patients to pay. It just makes the entire process that much better. And thanks for your being a part of the Crown Council community and providing the resources that you and the support. I think that's, to us, is the most important part, is the relationship we have with you guys and your responsiveness to really help all of the Crown Council members in our community. This is one of those ingredients that helps create a culture of success. And in this case, financial arrangement success. So thanks for your partnership and your participation.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having us.
Excited to see everyone face to face in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
See you in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, see. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All righty, Steve. Very
Thanks,
good. Thank you. I felt like I was inside track there because we've done all those cool skills as skills of the week. It was really fun a lot of great.
We have for anybody who's not plugged into the skill of the week, that is an essential part of being part of the Crown Council community, is having a skill that you focus on every week. And Stuart and I produce those. So that's at crowncouncil.com in your premium member hub, skill of the week every week. So thanks for that.
Hey, and this webinar live stream will be posted in 2 places, both in the webinar library and the live stream library. So both places it'll show up. We'll include all these neat links and QR codes. So you'll have those resources if you need to go back and rewatch. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Stuart. Have a good week, Steve. Everybody. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks.